If you're a fiend for beans, avoid the canned varieties that add questionable ingredients. But don't worry, as there are still plenty of delicious and healthy canned beans to look out for. You may have encountered baked beans at a cookout or eaten them as a side dish. Or if you're in the UK, maybe you eat them on toast. They're usually made with navy beans, which are cooked slowly with various seasonings and ingredients such as molasses, brown sugar, and spices like mustard or Worcestershire sauce. While baked beans are somewhat nutritious thanks to their high protein and fiber content, they're less healthy than regular canned beans because of the additional ingredients. For one thing, many commercial varieties contain added sugars. Excessive sugar intake is linked to various health issues like heart disease and dental problems. Another concern with baked beans is their sodium. On average, one serving contains 19% of the total amount of sodium that an adult should eat in one day.
The kids today don't know squat about sodium.
Yeah.
Baked beans can also contain other less than ideal additives like modified cornstarch and caramel coloring. Consuming baked beans occasionally as part of a balanced diet shouldn't be a problem, but if you're watching your sugar or sodium intake, then there are better options. Alternatively, making homemade baked beans allows you to control the ingredients and reduce the sugar and salt levels. Franks and beans, or pork and beans, is a classic dish that combines hot dogs and baked beans. They can be prepared from scratch, or you can buy them canned from the store, although the latter option certainly isn't the healthiest choice. Hot dogs are often made from processed meat, which can contain additives, preservatives, and high levels of sodium. Processed meats have also been linked to an increased risk of certain health problems, including cancer. Both hot dogs and canned baked beans tend to be high in sodium, and consuming too much sodium can lead to high blood pressure, stroke, and heart disease. And like baked beans on their own, Franks and beans contain high levels of sugar and can contain unwanted additives. Whether you eat them as a side, wrapped up in a burrito, or dolloped on nachos, refried beans are a common sight in the culinary world. They're made from cooked and mashed beans, usually of the pinto variety, but sometimes black or kidney beans instead. They're typically fried or sautéed with onions, garlic, and various spices. Refried beans offer many of the same health benefits as regular canned beans, such as being rich in fiber, protein, and essential nutrients. However, they're less healthy than regular canned beans due to the other ingredients. One of the things to be worried about with refried beans is their high sodium content, as just 1 cup can contain up to 64% of the recommended daily value. Traditional recipes often include lard, which is a type of rendered pork fat. Lard is high in saturated fat, which can raise levels of LDL cholesterol and increase the risk of heart disease. While some modern recipes may use vegetable oil instead of lard, you should check the ingredient list before buying so you know what you're working with.
And knowing is half the battle.
Chili beans are, as you might expect, beans that come in a chili sauce. They provide a shortcut for dishes such as burritos, tacos, or naturally enough, bean chili. This makes them a common choice for home cooks who don't have the time to make everything from scratch. This sounds great in theory, but chili beans are unhealthy compared to standard unprocessed canned beans. This is mostly due to the sodium content. Some chili beans can contain around 20% of the daily value of sodium per serving. Added sugars aren't usually a concern here, but you might find some brands with a higher sugar content than you might expect. When possible, it's best to simply make your own chili from scratch. That way, you can control the salt and sugar content. After all, chili beans are still beans under that salty sauce, so they maintain the nutritional benefits you'd expect, such as high protein and fiber. But the next time you find yourself in the canned bean aisle, there are some healthy options you should consider grabbing. First up in the good stuff, garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas, are found in most grocery stores. You can use them in hummus, soups, stews, salads, and so much more. They're rich in a range of nutrients and have several health benefits for the likes of your heart, colon, and blood sugar levels. Garbanzo beans are an excellent source of dietary fiber, with 1 cup of cooked chickpeas providing about 9.6 grams of fiber. They also contain resistant starch, which is a type of carbohydrate that resists digestion in the small intestine and behaves like dietary fiber. Resistant starch also plays a role in regulating blood sugar levels and supporting colon health.
My colon is clean. I'm talking squeaky clean.
There are plenty more nutrients in garbanzo beans as they contain about 11 grams of protein per cup. Protein plays a role in immune health, muscle building, and maintaining healthy hair, skin, and nails. 1 cup also contains about 14% of the vitamin B6 and folate you need in a day. Native to Central America and Mexico, kidney beans, sometimes known as red beans, are common in Latin American cuisines, but they're versatile enough to be used in a range of dishes from bean burgers to red bean soup. Uncooked kidney beans can be toxic, but you don't need to worry about that when you buy them canned. Like all beans, kidney beans are rich in fiber and protein. Incorporating them into your diet can easily help you reach your recommended daily intakes. Kidney beans also contain a wide range of vitamins and minerals. They're rich in folate, which is important for cell division and DNA synthesis. Folate is also particularly important during pregnancy. Kidney beans also provide plenty of iron, which plays a vital role in oxygen transport, energy production, and immune function. And the magnesium found in these beans is involved in hundreds of biochemical reactions, including those related to energy metabolism, muscle function, and bone health. Lima beans can be divisive. Regardless of your taste buds, though, there's no denying that these are among the healthiest beans around. You can buy versions that have been canned fresh and look green or off-green, as well as white versions that have been dried and cooked before being canned. The latter are sometimes known as butter beans. In 1 cup of canned lima beans, you'll find 12 grams of protein and 9 grams of fiber, both of which will help your immune and heart health. When it comes to vitamins and minerals, lima beans are full of manganese, an antioxidant that's vital for metabolic function. Lima beans aren't as rich in other vitamins and minerals as they are in manganese, though they still contain notable amounts. For example, 1 cup contains 58% of the daily value of copper, 30% of the daily value of magnesium, and 23% of the daily value of iron.
I am Iron Man.
Canned pinto beans are commonly found in plenty of grocery stores. They're widely consumed in many cuisines around the world, and they're particularly popular in Latin American, Southwestern American, and Mexican dishes. They're also quite versatile as they can be used in a variety of recipes, including soups, stews, salads, chili, and bean-based dips. Pinto beans are an excellent source of protein, providing around 16 grams per cup of cooked beans. Protein is essential for building and repairing tissues, supporting immune function, and maintaining muscle mass. Including pinto beans in your diet can certainly help meet your protein needs, especially for vegetarians and vegans. They're also full of fiber, with 1 cup containing approximately 16 grams. Fiber is important for digestive health as it promotes regular bowel movements, prevents constipation, and supports a healthy gut microbiome. Additionally, dietary fiber helps regulate blood sugar levels and reduces cholesterol levels. Notably, pinto beans are also packed with folate. Each cup provides more than 2/3 of the daily recommended intake for adults. They're also rich in a range of antioxidants, which are great for reducing inflammation in the body and providing cells protection from free radicals. If you're into Italian food, then you've probably encountered cannellini beans. Also known as white kidney beans, cannellini beans are large with a mild flavor and a smooth, creamy texture, making them a versatile ingredient in soups, salads, stews, and dips. Like other beans, cannellini are a rich source of both protein and fiber. 1 cup of cooked beans contains 16 grams of protein and about 10 grams of dietary fiber. They're also one of the best plant-based sources of calcium. 1 cup of cooked cannellini provides almost 120 milligrams of calcium, which is important for maintaining strong bones and teeth, supporting muscle function, and assisting with nerve transmission. Furthermore, cannellini beans are a good source of iron, with 1 cup providing approximately 7.2 milligrams. You need iron to produce hemoglobin, a protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. Adequate iron intake is also essential for preventing iron deficiency anemia and maintaining overall health and energy levels.
Beans, the musical fruit.
Common in Latin American, Caribbean, and Southwestern American cuisine, black beans are known for their rich, dark color and dense, meaty texture. They're often used in tacos, burritos, stews, soups, dips, and more. There are many reasons to eat black beans in addition to their taste. It should come as no surprise at this point that they contain healthy amounts of protein and fiber. They're also a good source of iron, with 1 cup providing approximately 6 milligrams, which is about 34% of the daily value. Black beans have a relatively low glycemic index, which means that they're digested and absorbed slowly, leading to gradual increases in blood sugar levels. Foods with a low GI are beneficial for managing blood sugar levels and reducing the risk of insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and other metabolic disorders. What's more, these beans contain antioxidants called anthocyanins, which are responsible for their dark color. Anthocyanins have been linked to various health benefits, including reducing inflammation, protecting against oxidative stress, and improving cardiovascular health. health. Consumption of anthocyanin-rich foods may also help reduce the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease and some types of dementia. Great Northern beans are a type of white bean that are creamy in texture with a mild flavor. That makes them ideal for a variety of dishes, including soups, stews, dips, salads, and casseroles. If you've been paying attention, you'll know that all kinds of beans are chock full of fiber and protein, and these beans are no exception. They also contain a type of antioxidant called flavonoids, which can reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. Eating a cup of Great Northern beans will give you about half of your recommended daily intake of folate. Additionally, you'll get about 1/3 of your daily phosphorus needs and over half of your recommended manganese intake. These beans are also rich in iron, thiamine, magnesium, and copper. If you've eaten baked beans, then you've probably consumed navy beans. Also known as haricot beans, they're small, white, and oval-shaped with a soft, creamy texture. You can use them in all kinds of dishes, including soups, stews, and dips. They're similar to Great Northern beans, but not exactly the same. 1 cup of cooked navy beans contains approximately 19.2 grams of fiber and 15 grams of protein. They're also rich in potassium, providing about 32% of the recommended daily value per cup. Potassium helps regulate blood pressure, maintain fluid balance, and support proper nerve and muscle function. Other nutrients found in navy beans in smaller quantities include folate, iron, zinc, magnesium, and calcium. These nutrients play various roles in the body, such as supporting red blood cell production, promoting bone health, and maintaining immune function. Navy beans are also high in resistant starch, a type of carbohydrate that resists digestion in the small intestine and helps to improve insulin sensitivity and support gut health.
Fast food. It's greasy, unfulfilling, and seriously bad for you. But damn, is it hard not to love it. Still, there are a few menu items you'll want to keep away from, no matter how decadent you're feeling. These are the unhealthy fast foods you should always avoid. If you were going to pick the unhealthiest item off the McDonald's menu, you'd probably choose one of their burgers, right? As it turns out, however, the unhealthiest McDonald's dish is a breakfast option, specifically their big breakfast platter. Order this heaping plate of breakfasty goodness and you'll get a warm biscuit, sausage patty, multiple hash browns, 3 pancakes with syrup and butter, and a mountain of scrambled eggs. All in all, the platter adds up to 1,340 calories and 63 grams of fat, which is almost your entire daily recommended intake of fat. It's also more than half of your calorific allotment for the day, which isn't a great start when you haven't even gotten to lunch yet. If you want to stick to the healthier options on the McDonald's breakfast menu, you'd be best going with the fruit and maple oatmeal, which contains just 320 calories, or the classic Egg McMuffin, which clocks in at 310. You'd be forgiven for thinking that Chipotle tends to err towards healthier foods, compared to some of the more burger-centric fast food joints. After all, almost everything they serve up at least feels fresh, and nobody really associates Chipotle with greasy fried food. But don't be deceived by appearances, because some of Chipotle's menu items contain more calories, sodium, and fat than you can possibly imagine. The worst thing you can order off their menu is the carnitas burrito in a flour tortilla with rice, beans, guac, cheese, queso, and sour cream, along with a side of tortilla chips and queso. This meal combo results in a total of 2,220 calories, 117.5 grams of fat, and 3,330 milligrams of sodium. Obviously, all of these totals are far above the FDA's recommended daily intake. It's almost impressive, in a way. Nobody ever pretended that fried chicken is good for you, but it turns out that Colonel Sanders' dirty little secret is a whole lot worse. The KFC Famous Bowl includes a kid-sized serving of popcorn chicken nuggets alongside mashed potatoes, gravy, shredded cheese, and corn. It also comes packed with 740 calories, 35 grams of fat, 45 grams of cholesterol, and 2,530 milligrams of sodium. A close runner-up for the title is the KFC Chicken Pot Pie. Despite appearing all harmless and wholesome, this monstrosity contains 720 calories, 41 grams of fat, and 1,750 grams of sodium. And that's before you factor in the sides. Maybe you'd be better off with a bucket of chicken, after all. Burger King's most shockingly shameless menu item has got to be the Triple Whopper with cheese. After all, nobody needs 3 patties in a single burger. Curiously enough, though, it's not the chain's most unhealthy dish. Just looking at single menu items, the least healthy item on the Burger King menu is the Texas Double Whopper. Despite only containing 2 patties, this burger contains a staggering 1,876 calories, 136 grams of fat, and 3,079 milligrams of sodium. Make that a large with a drink and a side, and your meal could potentially rack up a mind-boggling 3,500 calories. BK even have a warning on their website attached to the Texas Double Whopper, which points out that the sodium content of this item is higher than the total daily recommended limit, 2,300 milligrams. High sodium intake can increase blood pressure and risk of heart disease and stroke. Because nothing says fun meal out with the family like having to contend with your own mortality. It's far too easy to walk into a Taco Bell and order way too much food. After all, who could possibly resist getting some tacos with that burrito, throwing in a few nachos, or even getting some churros for after? Nonetheless, it might surprise you to learn that the unhealthiest item at Taco Bell is actually one of the sides. Here, the top spot is held by the Nachos Bel Grande, which you might know better as those massive trays of nachos covered in taco meat, cheese sauce, and sour cream. So what can you actually expect from the Nachos Bel Grande? Well, one of these bad boys comes packed with 740 calories, 38 grams of fat, and 1,050 milligrams of sodium. While that's not all bad compared to some of the other fast food items out there, it is still pretty high for a side dish. So unless you're planning on having only nachos, you might want to opt for something a little lighter to go alongside that quesadilla. Yeah, okay, so Subway has done pretty well at establishing a reputation for being one of the healthier fast food options. But that doesn't mean you can walk into your favourite sub shop, order anything off the menu, and still expect it to be good for you. In fact, one item in particular on the menu is bound to leave you swimming in salt: the turkey and bacon guacamole wrap. Sure, it's innocent looking. You've got the tomato basil wrap filled with a heap of turkey, bacon, cheese, guacamole, some veggies, and then a little ranch dressing. Maybe the ranch dressing and guacamole are a little fattening, but overall, this looks like a safe bet until you see how much salt it contains. Somehow, this deceiving wrap contains a whopping 2,570 milligrams of sodium, which is just over the daily recommended intake. The summer-exclusive Chick-fil-A Peach Milkshake is a cult favourite in the world of fast food. That said, it's probably a good thing that you can only order it during certain months of the year, because this delightful summer treat is positively filled with sugar. 94 grams to be exact, which is equal to about 22 teaspoons of table sugar. And that's nearly double the FDA-recommended daily 50 grams of added sugar or less. But that's not all, because the peach milkshake also includes 630 calories and 21 grams of fat. This means that if you wanted to burn off all the calories and sugar from downing one of these milkshakes, you'd need to walk for 169 minutes, run for 59 minutes, or cycle for 108 minutes. So next time you find yourself craving Chick-fil-A's peach milkshake, ask yourself, how far would you run for it? All things considered, Wendy's Pretzel Bacon Pub Burger looks pretty good.
Wendy's new Pretzel Bacon Pub Cheeseburger. You want to smash it right in your mouth. Hard.
Yeah, that's not the line.
But the triple version of this burger really is something else. Nearly a pound of beef is fried up and topped with warm beer cheese, bacon, honey mustard, fried onions, 3 slices of cheese and pickles, and then tucked into a pretzel bun. What's not to love? Unfortunately, when it comes to the nutritional info, there's actually quite a lot not to love. With 1,520 calories, 106 grams of fat, and 1,940 milligrams of sodium, the triple version of this burger nearly accounts for all of your calories and sodium for the day, and goes well above and beyond your recommended 78 grams of fat. So if you really want to experience the pub-inspired flavours of this specialty burger, you might have to lose a few of the beef patties and go with a single instead. Sure, you'll lose out a little on the sheer decadent meatiness of it all, but your arteries will thank you later. If you grew up in the 1990s, chances are you'll remember getting a personal pan pizza at Pizza Hut, usually in exchange for reading a few books. But did you know that Pizza Hut makes personal pan pizzas for adults too? Yes, you too can relive the nostalgia of your childhood by ordering up a pan-sized pie. You know, as long as you don't mind the calories. You see, just because a personal pizza is smaller, that doesn't make it much healthier than a serving of the chain's other pizzas. For example, if you go with a Meat Lover's personal pan pizza, you'll be getting 830 calories alongside it. That's pretty hefty for something so small, especially when you consider that if you purchased a Meat Lover's medium pizza, you could eat nearly 8 pieces all on your own before you reached 830 calories. No one ever really expects to keep things healthy when they're going out for ice cream. Still, it'd be hard to order worse than Dairy Queen's least nutritious blizzard. The Royal Rocky Road Trip Blizzard is easily the chain's unhealthiest item. It's vanilla soft serve mixed with brownie pieces, peanuts and chocolate fudge, all wrapped around a marshmallow core. A large version of this is packed with 1,510 calories, 70 grams of fat and a truly wild 151 grams of sugar. To paint a better picture, that's the equivalent of just under 36 teaspoons of sugar, or about 3/4 of a cup of sugar. It's a pretty sobering thought, especially when you consider that Dairy Queen even took the effort to use reduced fat soft serve rather than a full fat alternative. Honestly, at that point, why even bother? If you're planning on going to Arby's anytime soon, you might want to go ahead and skip over their spicy Greek gyro meal. You might not normally think of gyros as particularly unhealthy, but this one takes the proverbial cake. It's stuffed with gyro meat, tomatoes, lettuce, onion, tzatziki sauce, some spices, and a spicy chili sauce. And while that may sound tame at first, this meal is packed with calories and fat. Specifically, if you include a small drink and small serving of fries, it comes out at 1,640 calories and more than 75 grams of fat. That puts you nearly at your daily fat threshold for the day, and pretty close to your calorie limit too. All things considered, you'd almost certainly be better off sticking to, well, pretty much anything else. If you thought Dairy Queen's unhealthiest dessert was bad, just wait until you see what they've got over at Sonic. Because while Sonic's shakes come in some truly awesome flavours, there's one item in particular that you may want to avoid. The Oreo peanut butter shake doesn't necessarily seem all that sweet and sugary, and the ingredient list is pretty tame too. Only including vanilla ice cream, peanut butter, Oreos, whipped topping, and a cherry. But looks can be deceiving, and at 1,720 calories for a large, it easily outranks basically every other dessert in the world of fast food. In terms of sugar, the Oreo shake comes with 107 grams of the good stuff, alongside 106 grams of fat and 1,130 milligrams of sodium. And this is supposed to be a drink.
Best part of my day is when I'm at Dunkin'. You think that's sad?
Yes, very.
If you thought you were safe from the unhealthy evils of fast food just because you only get coffee at the drive-thru, think again. Dunkin' seems to be doing their darndest to make your coffee the unhealthiest thing you'll consume all day, especially if you order the chain's butter pecan swirl frozen coffee with cream. At 1,160 calories, this is by far the unhealthiest item on the Dunkin' menu. You could eat multiple donuts for that same amount of calories, or even a full meal or two, if for some reason you're actually eating sensibly. Still, it kind of makes sense that the butter pecan swirl is so calorific, because this is one drink that tastes more like a dessert item than actual coffee. In addition to those calories, you'll also get 22 grams of saturated fat and 168 grams of added sugar, which is a staggering 236% over the recommended daily value. On top of all this, the drink also contains 393 milligrams of caffeine. To put that into perspective, it's recommended that most adults do not exceed 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. In other words, you probably shouldn't go back for another one.
You might think you're doing yourself a favor by grabbing that reduced fat Jif off the grocery store shelf, but could you be setting yourself up for a PB&J nightmare instead? There is so much more to choosing the right peanut butter for you than crunchy or creamy.
Rich, teasing, tempting taste of Peter Pan. Wouldn't it taste great right about now?
It's an inescapable fact that peanut butter is a high-calorie food due to the fact that peanuts are an energy-dense ingredient. But Peter Pan Creamy Original Peanut Butter supplies way more calories than you might expect. In 2 tablespoons of this peanut butter, there are 200 calories, more than a lot of other market competitors, especially natural products, which are just made from peanuts. While the difference in calories can be small, it's important to keep in mind as they can add up over time. It's also important to note that the reason why Peter Pan Creamy Original Peanut Butter is so calorific is due to its added ingredients, which aren't exactly healthy. As well as containing added sugar, this peanut butter also contains hydrogenated vegetable oil. Hydrogenated oil is added to products like peanut butter to make them last longer, and also makes it easier to spread. Unfortunately though, hydrogenated oils also raise the saturated fat content of food items, and Peter Pan Creamy Original Peanut Butter does have a noticeably higher amount than some other peanut butter products out there. Consuming too much saturated fat can have a negative impact on your cholesterol levels, so it's important to watch how much you eat. If you want the creamy taste of peanut butter, Reese's has you covered. As well as infusing countless sweet products with peanut butter, the candy company also puts out its own spread. Sadly though, Reese's Creamy Peanut Butter Spread is far from a healthy option. A highly processed product, the spread contains a host of ingredients aside from peanuts, including added sugar, salt, hydrogenated vegetable oil, peanut oil, molasses, and monoglycerides. Monoglycerides are a form of fat that is added to food to boost texture and lifespan, and while they're safe, they contain trace amounts of trans fats and add to the overall fat content of your food. These ingredients all add up to a picture of nutrition which isn't ideal. Most notably, Reese's Creamy Peanut Butter Spread contains a fairly high amount of sodium per serving, with 140 milligrams in every 2 tablespoons. Natural peanut butters made solely with peanuts, by contrast, contain no sodium at all. There are also a few grams of added sugar per serving, coming from the sugar and molasses added, and 2.5 grams of saturated fat, again more than other natural options. Reduced fat peanut butter feels like a good idea. As peanuts are high in fat, finding a way to reduce the content while still allowing you to enjoy the spread is something that appeals to a lot of people. However, Skippy Reduced Fat Creamy Peanut Butter Spread is not the way to go. This peanut butter does have lower fat levels than others, although importantly, it's only a few grams less than some types of natural peanut butter, but it's still calorie dense. Additionally, it's crammed with additives that result in a peanut butter that's lower in fat but full of carbs. Registered dietitian and nutritionist Lauren Maneker told Eat This, Not That, often made with corn syrup solids, sugar, and other carby ingredients, many don't realize that one serving of this type of peanut butter is considered to be a full carbohydrate serving. Tack that onto the carbs taken in with your jelly and 2 slices of bread, and you can be taking in way more carbohydrates than you may realize, which could result in high blood sugar or weight gain. This peanut butter also has a high level of sodium as far as peanut-based spreads go, with 170 milligrams per serving, which further adds to its unhealthiness.
We do sell more creamy peanut butter than crunchy, but don't tell that to the crunchy fans. They absolutely love it and they would never give it up.
Peanut butter can be used in both savory and sweet dishes, but it's perhaps most commonly spread between 2 slices of bread with a slick of jelly or honey. Peter Pan's Creamy Peanut Butter and Honey Spread cuts out the additional effort of finding an extra jar by infusing honey straight into the spread itself. However, this leaves you with peanut butter that's bursting with added sugar. Peter Pan Creamy Peanut Butter and Honey Spread has 7 grams of added sugar per serving, almost a fifth of the maximum amount that men are recommended to consume daily, and over a quarter of the recommended maximum amount for women. Consuming high levels of added sugar affects your health negatively in a large number of ways, raising disease risk for multiple organs, including your kidneys, liver, pancreas, and colon, and may also raise the likelihood of obesity or high blood pressure, as stated by the American Heart Association. This added sugar amount is of course increased even further if you're adding more honey or jelly to a sandwich made with this spread, and it increases the peanut butter's calorie count with 200 per serving. As protein levels go, Peter Pan Creamy Honey Roast Peanut Butter Spread also has less than other peanut butter, delivering 7 grams per serving.
For 5 generations, with a name like Smucker's, it has to be good.
Smucker's is a big name in the peanut butter world, and like many other major producers, it offers a reduced-fat version of its spread. However, this doesn't mean its reduced-fat natural-style creamy peanut butter is a healthier choice. Registered dietitian nutritionist Lisa Young warns, "You may think choosing a reduced-fat version is always better, but don't be fooled by it. This jar contains ingredients like maltodextrin, which is often used as a substitute for sugar. Maltodextrin is an ultra-processed product derived from vegetable starch and has a high glycemic index, meaning that it can cause your blood sugar to rise more than normal sugar does. This is troublesome for most people, but it is especially worrying for folks with diabetes or insulin resistance. You should pay close attention to how this peanut butter is branded. By being called natural style in some retail outlets, this peanut butter can give the illusion of minimal processing and health. But while natural peanut butter is made from just peanuts, this peanut butter contains not just maltodextrin, but salt, which raises its sodium content."
New reduced fat Jif, a delicious new choice for choosy moms.
You sure this is reduced fat?
Reduced fat doesn't always mean healthy, folks. Jif's reduced fat creamy peanut butter spread promises 25% less fat than peanut butter on the jar's label. But despite this, it's just as calorific as full-fat peanut butter options. The reason for this is because what it lacks in fat, it makes up in sugar. There are 4 grams of sugar per serving of this peanut butter, 3 of them added, and they come from not just regular sugar but corn syrup solids, the second listed item in its ingredients. Corn syrup solids are a hard form of corn syrup, an ultra-processed type of sugar that has some significant health effects. While regular corn syrup is potentially not as impactful as high-fructose corn syrup, thanks to being made of glucose and not fructose, it can still cause your blood glucose levels to rise. If this happens repeatedly over a long period, a large number of your bodily systems can be affected negatively. It's also worth noting that while this peanut butter's fat is reduced, it also has fat added back into it in the form of fully hydrogenated vegetable oils. Skippy Natural Peanut Butter with Honey seems like the best of both worlds, offering you a sweet peanut butter that eliminates the need for additional spreads while giving it to you in a natural, wholesome format. But appearances can be deceiving. This peanut butter contains a high amount of added sugars, thanks to honey and sugar being added to it, delivering 5 grams per serving, 10% of your daily value. As well as this, natural peanut butter tends to get its fat content from just the peanuts used. But Skippy Natural Peanut Butter with Honey has 2 additional fat sources: peanut oil and palm oil. This results in a spread that has a higher saturated fat content than many other peanut butters out there, with 3.5 grams per serving. Palm oil, in particular, is added to improve the spreadability of the peanut butter, but it also adds some saturated fat. It's also worth keeping in mind that palm oil is a fairly controversial ingredient due to its production's long-standing impact on the environment. While this is improving, more work needs to be done to ensure the sustainability of all palm oil sources. Peanut butter is a reliable pantry product, and Walmart offers its own version at an affordable price. But while the great value creamy peanut butter might be a terrific price, it's not terrifically healthy. This peanut butter has a range of added ingredients, including hydrogenated vegetable oils and salt. Both of these ingredients spike its sodium and fat levels, with 2 tablespoons of peanut butter providing a high 17 grams of fat and 125 milligrams of sodium. In addition, great value creamy peanut butter contains, somewhat strangely, both added sugar and molasses, the super sweet dark syrup that provides a depth of flavor. This is odd, as while you might expect these ingredients to be in peanut butter that is combined with honey or added flavors, here they add sweetness where sweetness isn't necessary and increase its added sugar content. Furthermore, there are barely any vitamins or minerals to be found in the spread. And perhaps most importantly, it has one of the highest calorie counts of any commercial peanut butter out there, with 210 calories per serving, making it an incredibly energy-dense option. Trader Joe's has own brand versions of virtually every common product, so it's not a shock that it sells its own peanut butter too. But we would be wary of assuming that it's healthy. Trader Joe's creamy salted peanut butter shows its cards in its name. This spread has a fairly high salt level, supplying 140 milligrams per portion. While this is just 6% of your daily intake, it's 6% more than a lot of other peanut butters, and small amounts can add up fast. Eating too much salt has both short and long-term effects on the body. Short-term effects can include headaches and bloating. Long-term effects can include high blood pressure, kidney stones, and heart failure. It's a shame that this product contains sodium because elsewhere it looks pretty nutritious. As the only other ingredient is dry roasted peanuts, it contains no added fat or sugars or any additives to improve shelf stability or spreadability. However, you can get many of the same qualities in peanut butter that just uses peanuts with no salt. And if you feel the urge to make it saltier, you can control the amount you put in. Like several other peanut butter producers, Walmart makes a combo version of its spread, mixing its peanut butter with honey. But as you can probably imagine, doing so results in a spread that's bursting with added sugars. There are 7 grams of sugar in total in a 2-tablespoon serving of this spread, and 6 of them are added. That adds up to 12% of your daily value in a pretty small portion. And you may add to that further by smearing it onto white bread, which often has added sugar in it. These added sugars come from 3 separate sources: honey, sugar, and molasses, which come together to make a super sweet spread. Salt is also added, presumably to balance the flavor, but as a result, you also get 115 milligrams of sodium per serving. To pile things on even further, Great Value Honey Roasted Creamy Peanut and Honey Spread also has hydrogenated vegetable oil added to it, leaving you consuming 14 grams of fat in every portion. And if that wasn't enough, it's also one of the lower protein options out there, containing 7 grams per serving instead of the usual 8 grams.
Ruth's Chris sells one steak so big it provides the average person enough calories by itself to last a day and a half. And it's not the only thing you have to watch out for on the menu. The calamari at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is made from tubes and bits of squid lightly breaded in flour and then deep fried to make for a crispy, not too fishy starter, topped with a sweet, spicy, and tangy chili sauce. But while the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse calamari may taste light, it's not light on calories. It's supposed to be a starter for a larger meal to come, but this dish packs 990 calories, about half of the total daily caloric intake recommended by the USDA. Since squid is light in calories, fat, and carbohydrates, the big numbers on the nutrition sheet come from the breading, cooking oil, and chili sauce used to transform the raw seafood into a composed dish. Altogether, this appetizer contains 990 calories and 71 grams of carbohydrates, along with 1,840 milligrams of sodium and 62 grams of fat, both of which are close to the daily recommended amount. And it also packs 715 milligrams of cholesterol, well over twice what a full-grown person should take in over a day. A tomahawk steak is essentially 2 steaks in one. It's a ribeye with a little something extra, around half a foot of rib bone and meat. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse offers its tomahawk ribeye, one of the chain's best and most beloved menu items, on its standard dinner menu as a 40-ounce cut. Both ribeyes and ribs involve a significant fat count, and thus a high calorie count too. Put that together, and it makes the tomahawk ribeye the singular most calorically dense item on the entire Ruth's Chris Steakhouse menu. If a diner eats this glorious monstrosity of a Frankenstein steak all by themselves in one sitting, they'll consume 3,160 calories. As an adult needs just 2,000 calories a day on average, this would theoretically keep the Ruth's Chris patron with enough food in their stomach to last them for about a day and a half.
Ruth, she had a recipe for everything.
If you're dining at a pricey place like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, you might as well go all in and order the most show-stopping entree possible. The porterhouse fits the bill for diners looking to drop some cash and provide themselves with a memorable dining experience. One of the largest and priciest single cuts readily available, the Ruth's Chris Porterhouse weighs in at a whopping 40 ounces of the chain's top-quality prime-graded beef. It's so big that menus at some locations recommend that customers split it with their dinner companion. But whether a steak lover chooses to team up on the storied porterhouse or go at it alone, they're likely going to get enough to eat and then some. Ruth's Chris Porterhouse weighs in with 2,260 calories, again more than the USDA daily recommendation. It's essentially pure beef, and beef is naturally fatty, meaning the porterhouse adds 169 grams of fat and 560 milligrams of cholesterol to the diner's system, 260% and 187% of the total daily needs for those nutritional categories, respectively. Even if a customer eats half of it, they'll still eat more than 1,100 calories, along with nearly a day's worth of cholesterol and more than a day's worth of fat. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is an establishment that puts elite cuts of beef at the forefront. Its permanent dinner menu only ever offers a small selection of exceptional steaks, and two that stand out from the rest are both hearty 16-ounce choices, the ribeye and the New York strip. Both are USDA certified prime cuts. The New York is naturally a bit dense and thick, while the ribeye is softer and offers more fat marbling.
So tell me why you come here and get the ribeye. What are they doing?
It's always cooked exactly like you ordered it.
Despite the cosmetic and biological differences, the two steaks possess nearly identical nutritional stats. As prepared in the signature Ruth's Chris Steakhouse style, neither is a particularly healthy choice. The ribeye has 1,370 calories along with 113 grams of fat, of which 50 is saturated and more concerning for heart health. The New York strip clocks in at 1,390 calories and 122 grams of fat, of which 54 is saturated. Like all steaks, both do have a lot of protein, so at least there's a small consolation prize for your overstuffed body.
We are known for our New York, we are known for our ribeye.
In addition to its popular take on the ribeye steak, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse sells a variant known as the cowboy ribeye. The chain's butchers leave a long rib bone intact, which also brings with it an additional 6 ounces of marbled corn-fed beef. While the flavor is slightly more succulent, it's really an extra-large version of the Ruth's Chris ribeye and a veritable feast of 22 ounces of meat as opposed to the 16-ounce portion of the ribeye. Just as the classic ribeye packs a wallop of calories, fat, and cholesterol, so too does the cowboy ribeye. One serving registers 1,690 calories, almost the full daily requirement. The 147 grams of fat is twice the recommended limit, and of that total, 67 grams are saturated, 335% of the USDA's suggested allowance for one day. It's also packing 345 milligrams of cholesterol, well over the one-day boundary. The sides at Ruth's Chris tend to be large, so diners may want to split them. That being said, it's tough to split a baked potato, even one that's as overflowing and abundant as the stuffed and fully loaded variety that jumps off the menu at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. The baked potato, as it's simply known, comes with generous portions of bacon chunks, cheddar, butter, and sour cream. When the kitchen is done with this focus-stealing side dish, it should weigh about a pound. All those carbohydrates from the humongous potato base, not to mention the fat from the greasy toppings, make for a side that's bursting at the seams. The Ruth's Chris baked potato contains 800 calories and 82 grams of carbohydrates, slightly more than a quarter of the amount an adult should consume in a day. The garnishes provide the item with 100 milligrams of cholesterol, a third of the recommended daily allowance, along with 45 grams of fat, 69% of what a healthy adult should take in over a day. It's listed among the sides, but Ruth's Chris Steakhouse's sweet potato casserole is so sweet that it could fare just as well on the dessert menu. Reminiscent of candied yam dishes found on Thanksgiving dinner tables, Ruth's Chris's take is a smooth and buttery blend of sweet potatoes and brown sugar, among other ingredients. It's then topped with a sweet blend of more brown sugar and pecans, which forms a crunchy, almost caramelized crust on top.
It has a nice crunchy texture on top. Gets a nice crust on the top there.
Ruth's Chris provides such a large portion of the casserole that it can easily be shared among 2 or more guests. The sweet potato casserole boasts 880 calories, along with 43 grams of fat, half of which is the artery-clogging saturated variety. The dish also contains 113 grams of carbohydrate in total, and while 10 grams of that is healthy fiber from the sweet potatoes, good enough for slightly more than a third of the average person's daily need, it's got a whopping 90 grams of sugar, which is a lot for something that's supposedly not a dessert. An ample bowl of home-style macaroni and cheese with a thick, creamy sauce is going to bust almost any calorie-conscious plan. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse combines elbow macaroni with a white cheddar cheese gravy and a generous portion of rich, melt-in-your-mouth lobster. The chain then took this carefully crafted monument of comfort food and made it a side dish to go with what's likely an even more calorically bountiful steak. For the sake of comparison, the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse bone-in filet, a 16-ounce cut of beef, has a listed calorie count of 470. The restaurant's lobster mac and cheese contains nearly double that, with carbohydrates and fat doing the heavy lifting here. The pasta concoction contains 92 grams of carbohydrates and 40 grams of fat, including 26 grams of saturated fat, 130% of what the USDA says an adult should process during an entire day. The average Ruth's Chris Steakhouse offers a limited but well-honed selection of desserts, all of them promising an abundance of flavor and sugar. Nutritionally speaking, the warm apple crumb tart is easily the worst offender of the bunch. Ruth's Chris dessert team starts with a home-style apple pie blend of fruit, sugar, and cinnamon, and then bakes it in a pie shell topped with a sweet and crunchy streusel mix. After it comes out of the oven, it's topped with a large scoop of ice cream that melts over the whole thing. Those ingredients add up, and the apple crumb tart holds 1,510 calories. It also has 62 grams of fat, just shy of the 65-gram daily limit, and 40 grams of that is saturated, double the daily USDA recommendation. The personal pie with its filling, crust, streusel, and ice cream combine to add 127 grams of sugar to the diner's tally. That's more than double what the CDC thinks Americans should consume daily, and just part of the 220 grams of carbohydrates contained in the dessert. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse's dessert menu features one item that's 2 entire treats combined. And with a reasonable price tag, it's all the more attractive after what was likely a very expensive dining experience. The chocolate duo is made up of 1 serving of delicate chocolate mousse topped with whipped cream, alongside a molten chocolate lava cake filled with rich and creamy liquid chocolate. There's a lot of chocolate here, and chocolate is rarely low in calories, fat, or sugar. The chocolate duo contains 1,150 calories, more than half of the USDA recommendation. It also adds 107 grams of carbohydrates, of which 75 grams is sugar, and 74 grams of fat to the nutritional tally, more than enough for the day. At Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the classic cheesecake gets its spot on the menu as a familiar sweet ending to a robust steak dinner. Like most everything else at Ruth's Chris, the classic cheesecake arrives at the table in a hefty portion as an individually prepared, self-contained round of soft and creamy cheese filling in a graham cracker crust. The only real additions Ruth's Chris makes to the standard preparation are a mint sprig garnish and some berries. Those add a bit of flavor and panache, but little to the dessert's staggering nutritional counts. Few people would think a serving of cheesecake, let alone a large one, is low in anything, and Ruth's Chris Classic Cheesecake meets all expectations. One serving contains 1,280 calories, accounting for more than half of the USDA's advised daily calorie needs for an American adult. As it's made with cheese, which is mostly fat, and lots of carbohydrates, it also delivers much in those categories, 89 grams and 103 grams respectively. Surprisingly, the sweet treat also contains 1,090 milligrams of sodium, which is about half of what a person should theoretically consume in a day. It's common knowledge that some foods are especially caloric or fattening, such as bread, sugar, cream, and alcohol. The white chocolate bread pudding at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse employs all of those ingredients and more. The result is a rich, layered, and elevated version of a rustic favorite, but one that will add a lot of empty calories to a diner's nutritional totals for the day. All told, this meal-capping dessert contains nearly 100 grams of sugar and 19 grams of saturated fat. That's more than double the CDC-advised level of sugar, and almost an entire day's worth of USDA-recommended fat grams. All the fat-laden dairy in the white chocolate and creme anglaise adds cholesterol to the mix too, to the tune of 365 milligrams, or 122% of the recommended daily limit. This dessert also has more calories than a lot of meals, with a grand total of 930.
Nobody eats a burger because it's healthy, but these monstrosities would give anyone pause for thought. So, which fast food chain boasts the most dangerous burger of all? If you're lucky enough to live in one of the 7 states with an In-N-Out burger and you happen to be on the prowl for the most unhealthy burger on the menu, the Double Double with Onion is the burger for you. The Double Double with Onion comes with 2 beef patties, each topped with a slice of American cheese, onions, lettuce, and tomatoes, as well as In-N-Out Burger's signature sauce. All the nutritional values here are on the healthier end of unhealthy. This menu item clocks in at 670 calories, and it contains 41 grams of fat, 18 grams of saturated fat, 1 gram of trans fat, and 120 milligrams of cholesterol. The sodium count is 1,440 milligrams, carbs stand at 39 grams, and sugar at 10 grams. Luckily, none of this burger's nutritional values exceed the daily recommended amount, so you can eat this one without feeling too much guilt.
I have no regrets! No regrets!
The most unhealthy burger you can get at McDonald's is the Double Quarter Pounder with cheese. Once upon a time, the Big Mac was the biggest health risk sold under the Golden Arches, but its relatively wimpy 590 calories are nothing compared to this beast, which contains a staggering 740 calories. What takes this burger over the edge is its 2 quarter-pound beef patties, which are topped with 2 slices of American cheese. In addition to half a pound of meat and an absolute ton of dairy, the Double Quarter Pounder contains pickles, onions, ketchup, and mustard. This burger is on the lower end of the scale. It contains 42 grams of fat, 20 grams of saturated fat, 2.5 grams of trans fat, 1,360 milligrams of sodium, and 165 grams of cholesterol. All in all, this isn't great, but despite McDonald's reputation for fueling obesity in the US, it really could be a heck of a lot worse. If you live in one of the 21 states in the United States with a Jack in the Box and you're on a health kick, you might want to avoid the chain's Bacon Ultimate Cheeseburger. This burger consists of 2 beef patties and several pieces of hickory smoked bacon, topped by 4 slices of cheese, mustard, mayo, and ketchup. The Bacon Ultimate Cheeseburger contains 930 calories, which might not sound too bad, but it's heading over to the dark side with 56 grams of fat and 7 grams of sugar. However, it still has 165 milligrams of cholesterol, 2,190 milligrams of sodium, and 44 grams of carbs. It also contains a worrying 3 grams of trans fats, as well as 24 grams of saturated fat. While Steak 'n Shake occasionally brings out its monstrous 1,660-calorie 7-patty 7x7 burger, the most calorific burger you'll see on the regular menu is the Frisco Melt. Luckily, this one is less likely to have you clutching your heart with a mere 960 calories. The Frisco Melt is layered between 2 slices of buttered sourdough bread and filled with 2 hamburger patties, Frisco sauce, and of course, a whole lot of cheese.
Ignore the cheese! Yeah, I'm sorry, let's do it!
The Frisco Melt contains 115 milligrams of cholesterol and 1,440 milligrams of sodium, and it's only 1 gram over the recommended daily allowance of saturated fat at 21 grams. However, things get tricky when you take into account the 66 grams of fat, 1.5 grams of trans fat, 51 grams of carbs, and 12 grams of sugar. If you're craving a Frisco without all the unhealthy nutritional values, you could always try wrestling one up at home. Using fresh ingredients, you'd have to try pretty hard to match the stats of Steak 'n Shake's version. Freddy's Triple Steak Burger has relatively few calories for a 3-patty burger, but 990 calories certainly isn't nothing. This burger also comes with 3 slices of American cheese, onions, mustard, and pickles. Clearly, it's not big on frills, but the toasted bun is a nice bonus. Freddy's sometimes trots out another 3-patty burger that tops this one on the calorie count, known as the Jalapeno Pepper Jack Triple. You are more likely to find the double version of that burger, though, which doesn't have quite as many calories as the Triple Steak Burger. The Triple Steak Burger contains just 31 grams of carbs and 5 grams of sugar, but you'll want to steer clear if you're watching your health, as it holds 260 milligrams of cholesterol. That's not all, though. 28 grams of saturated fat isn't ideal either, while the trans fat content clocks in at 1.5 grams and the sodium goes up to 2,190 milligrams. This one really straddles the naughty and nice of the burger world. Dairy Queen's Backyard Bacon Ranch Signature Stack Burger Triple clocks in at an impressive 1,020 calories. With the chain's stack burgers dominating Dairy Queen's menus at the moment, you may not even notice that it still sells a small 350-calorie hamburger. But who wants small anyway? The 1,020-calorie Backyard Bacon Ranch Signature Stack Burger Triple comes with 3 beef patties, weighing in at a half-pound in total. Each patty is layered with a slice of white cheddar and further topped with applewood smoked bacon, fried onion rings, ranch dressing, and honey barbecue sauce. This stack burger contains 27 grams of saturated fat, exceeding the recommended daily amount by 8 grams. Its sodium levels reach a high of 2,310 milligrams, while carbs and sugar come to 54 and 15 grams respectively. Additionally, it counts 67 grams of fat, 2.5 grams of trans fat, and 180 milligrams of cholesterol. DQ's highest calorie stack burger undoubtedly belongs in the territory of the bad boys of burgers.
That's right.
Braum's triple quarter-pound cheeseburger may taste good, but at 1,040 calories, it's terribly unhealthy. 3 quarter-pound beef patties are topped by lettuce, tomato, pickles, onions, American cheese, mayo, and Braum's special sauce. The triple quarter-pound cheeseburger soars to high figures in several areas, including 27 grams of saturated fat and 240 milligrams of cholesterol. That saturated fat level is 7 grams above the daily recommendation. It also has an above-average 2.5 grams of trans fat, 2,020 milligrams of sodium, and 12 grams of sugar. The only things it has going for it nutritionally speaking is the relatively low fat and carb content, at 64 and 43 grams respectively. Maybe you can have too much of a good thing after all. Hardee's and Carl's Jr. are owned by the same company, meaning they offer basically the same menu. At some point or another, you might have seen either chain advertising the 1,400-calorie Monster Double Thick Burger, but their biggest burger right now is the Double Western Bacon Cheeseburger, which boasts an impressive 1,060 calories. This burger comes with 2 meat patties, each topped with a slice of American cheese and stacked with 2 strips of bacon and 2 onion rings. And of course, it wouldn't be a Western burger if it wasn't drenched in sweet barbecue sauce. The Double Western Bacon Cheeseburger contains 81 grams of carbs and 17 grams of sugar, outpacing pretty much all of the competition in those areas. It also carries 24 grams of saturated fat and 2,080 milligrams of sodium. The good news is that this burger has a lower than average amount of trans fat at 2 grams and cholesterol at 150 milligrams. But let's not kid around here, that doesn't exactly make it healthy. Whataburger's unhealthiest burger is another triple patty beast. Oddly enough, despite clocking in at 1,070 calories, this one doesn't even come with cheese. You can add a slice of cheese to the triple meat Whataburger 4 Extra, but it'll cost you an additional 90 calories. Apart from the lack of cheese, the toppings are pretty standard, including lettuce, pickles, onions, and tomato.
Consider yourself tomato.
You're not like other people, are you?
The 5-inch bun helps bring this burger close to the top as far as carb content goes, with 62 grams. It also contains 12 grams of sugar. Somehow, despite having 3 pieces of meat, the triple meat Whataburger only counts 130 milligrams of cholesterol. But you've also got 63 grams of fat, 2.5 grams of trans fat, and 21 grams of saturated fat to contend with. It also contains 1,720 milligrams of sodium. Basically, this one could be a whole lot worse. Sonic's juicy supersonic bacon double cheeseburger with mayo comes in at a total of 1,140 calories. For that, you'll get pretty much what it says on the tin: 2 hamburger patties, 2 slices of American cheese, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and mayo. Sonic actually offers chili as an additional topping suggestion, which would bring this bad boy up to a stunning 1,200 calories, just in case you want to live even more dangerously. While the supersonic bacon double cheeseburger with mayo has 77 grams of fat and 23 grams of saturated fat, it's a rarity in the burger world for containing absolutely 0 trans fats. Surprisingly, for such a calorific mega burger, the cholesterol and sugar content is pretty low too, at 150 milligrams and 10 grams respectively. However, it is loaded with 2,020 milligrams of sodium and 52 grams of carbs. While Sonic's offering has a few things going for it, there's obviously a lot of bad in there too. Okay, buckle up, because things are about to get seriously unhealthy. Burger King's Bacon King comes in at 1,200 calories, mostly thanks to its 2 beef patties, 2 slices of American cheese, and heaps of bacon. Ketchup and mayo are added as condiments, while the sesame seeds on the bun also contribute to the calorie count. The Bacon King contains 81 grams of fat, which is significantly more than the amount you should consume in a single day, and it's loaded with 32 grams of saturated fat, 12 more than the FDA recommended amount. It also includes 215 milligrams of cholesterol, 55 grams of carbs, and 15 grams of sugar. It really goes over the edge with the sodium. This burger contains an almost unbelievable 3,265 milligrams, which is nearly a full 1,000 milligrams over the daily suggested intake. The only thing the Bacon King has going for it nutrition-wise is the fact that it only contains 1.2 grams of trans fat. So, yeah, congrats on that one, Burger King. Bacon and barbecue certainly taste great together, but when you ask for triple the meat, you're always going to drive up the calories. And Checkers and Rally's really aren't messing around here. Their Bacon Buford Triple is basically the Paunch Burger from Parks and Recreation.
Put it in your body or you're a nerd.
This burger barely looks like it'll fit in your mouth. It's got 3 meat patties topped with a slice of Swiss cheese and loaded up with a couple of slices of smoky bacon. The other toppings include lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, and onions, as well as barbecue sauce, mayo, and bacon crumbles. Everything on this burger adds up to a whopping 1,340 calories. Unsurprisingly, the Smoky Barbecue Bacon Buford Triple has extremely high levels of fat at 105 grams and saturated fat at 35 grams. The burger's 2,500 milligrams of sodium is nothing to joke about either, and it also contains 205 milligrams of cholesterol, 2 grams of trans fat, and 9 grams of sugar. The carbs count is surprisingly low at 40 grams, however, offering at least a little nice along with all that naughty.
Wendy's new pretzel bacon pub cheeseburger. You want to smash it right in your mouth. Hard.
Yeah, that's not the line.
Behold, Wendy's Pretzel Bacon Pub Burger. This 1,530-calorie triple patty burger has 3 slices of Munster cheese, in addition to a warm beer and cheese sauce. You also get pickles, fried onions, applewood smoked bacon, and a smoke-flavored honey mustard topping. It's undeniably good, sure, but also one of the most straight-up evil burgers out there. You won't be surprised to learn that the Pretzel Bacon Pub Triple contains 107 grams of fat, 44 grams of saturated fat, and 5 grams of trans fat, beating out all the competition on those values. It's also extremely high in cholesterol at 250 milligrams and contains 1,890 milligrams of sodium and 53 grams of carbohydrates. The fact that it only carries 6 grams of sugar is little consolation. If you're venturing out to Wendy's, be warned, here there be monsters.
Sugar, spice, and everything not so nice? Not all pasta sauces are healthy, and here's the worst of the worst.
Nona, this tastes like yours.
Sauces that contain creamy elements usually weigh in with higher calorie and fat contents, such is the case with the Ragu Creamy Basil Alfredo, especially concerning cholesterol. At 180 calories for a half-cup serving, the numbers are already adding up. Comparatively, a serving of Ragu Old World-style marinara is only 80 calories. With so many calories in creamy basil Alfredo, there isn't a lot of wiggle room left for calories in the pasta, veggies, and side dishes you'll likely be enjoying along with the sauce, most of which will come with moderate to high calorie counts of their own. Looking at the fat content, 16 grams per serving is a considerable amount for a pasta topper, about 1/4 of the daily recommended intake. Combine that with 660 milligrams of sodium, also about 1/4 of the per-day allotment, and you can see why this creation isn't a prime choice from the Ragu sauce selection. A simpler sauce with better nutritional stats would leave wiggle room when it comes to the rest of your meal. Creamy basil Alfredo adds up to an unwise choice. As a premium sauce option, Rao's stands above the rest, giving pasta lovers a higher-end option for dressing out their fettuccine and spaghetti. The company's red sauces are relatively favorable, but when you spin a bottle of caramelized onion sauce and check out the label, you find a different story altogether. 120 calories per half-cup serving is 20 more than a half-cup of basic marinara. It's surprising to learn that including onions in the basic recipe could add 20% more to the calorie count, and not something casual shoppers might think to double-check before putting a jar in their cart. Luckily, the 8-gram fat content and 330 milligram sodium content keep this ravioli juice from being any more unhealthy than necessary. But if adding a vegetable to the recipe jacks up the calories so considerably, it's probably better to skip the caramelized onions and stick with the ground-level red sauce instead to keep the calorie count in your whole meal under control. At the very least, you can make an informed decision before making your purchase.
Rao's Homemade. Make every day delicious.
When Rao's takes a step beyond the basic tomato-based sauces, the nutritional facts tell a wildly different tale. With no tomatoes in the recipe to provide volume, Rao's homemade basil pesto depends on a heavy concentration of sunflower oil, pine nuts, and cheeses to create a traditional green pesto sauce. Unfortunately, this formula also takes all the questionable aspects into the realm of unmanageable. For a half-cup serving, this jar shares a gobsmacking 640 calories. This alone should give shoppers pause as they consider that number as more than a quarter of a daily 2,000-calorie diet, just for the sauce. Reading on, the 62 grams of fat and 1,960 milligrams of sodium are enough to make you put the jar back on the shelf and slide quietly away from the pasta section altogether. How could a sauce offer such high concentrations of additives that should be kept to a minimum throughout the day? Even cutting the serving in half to a quarter cup gives your pasta 320 calories, 31 grams of fat, and 980 milligrams of sodium, all without including the pasta itself. Yikes! Alfredo is a notoriously indulgent sauce that combines cream and cheese to make a silky white topping for pasta, chicken, and seafood. With Prego home-style Alfredo sauce piled on top, those relatively benign foods get an added blast of calories, fat, sodium, and cholesterol that can turn simple eating into a complicated affair. You can count on a half-cup serving to add 160 calories, 14 grams of fat, and 780 milligrams of sodium to your plate. If you're tracking your macros closely, that leaves you almost no space for dessert at the end of your meal. The biggest surprise in this sauce is the cholesterol count, which at 60 milligrams per serving is higher than any other sauce on the list. While it doesn't come close to the 300 total milligrams allowed per day, it does come in the form of a cream sauce, meaning whatever animal-based proteins you might add on top will only increase your consumption. You could always use less than a half cup of this Prego sauce, but you'll still be augmenting your pasta with some less than desirable elements. Something to keep in mind as you shop. With Classico basil pesto included in your home-style Italian meal, you'll be adding one of the least nutritionally impressive sauces currently on the market to your daily consumption. Toss your pasta with a half cup of this temptation and you'll be piling on 460 calories, a staggering 44 grams of fat, and 1,180 milligrams of sodium, just about half of your allowance for the whole day. It makes more sense when you find out the ingredient list includes both soybean and olive oils, but no pasta dish is worth that kind of trouble. While marinara is usually a safe choice that keeps calories low while omitting strange additives, Emeril's home-style marinara somehow bucks the trend to create one of the least healthy sauces on the shelf. There may only be 90 calories in a half-cup serving, but it also comes with 470 milligrams of sodium, which is 20% of the daily allowance in the sauce alone. Considering that most pasta makers generously salt the pot when making their noodles, including Emeril's in the meal only adds that much more to the overall content. Another surprising ingredient making an appearance in this pasta sauce is sugar, or rather the amount of sugar. Emeril's home-style marinara contains a considerable 9 grams per half-cup serving. Mirroring the sodium, this is nearly 20% of what's advisable to consume in an entire day, and it's all coming in a single serving of pasta sauce. When it comes to house-label pasta sauces, Kroger does a creditable job keeping up with the bigger brands. But when the objective is to keep nutrition as a touchstone, it isn't always a good thing to follow the pack. One example in particular is Kroger Traditional Alfredo, a pasta sauce that gives other labels a run for their money in flavor and texture. As for nutritional value, the country's largest grocer also maintains a profile similar to the larger brands. Unfortunately, that means a half-cup serving showers your pasta with 140 calories, 10 grams of fat, and 20 milligrams of cholesterol. You'll also be taking 4 grams of sugar and a heart-shuddering 620 milligrams of sodium. With so many high counts of undesirable elements included in the bargain, even cost-cutting measures can't help this white sauce measure up in the right way. Target throws a twist in the less-than-healthy pasta sauce equation with Good & Gather's signature butternut squash pasta sauce, one of the few gourmet-style recipes around, and sadly one of the more adverse regarding nutrition. We would have thought a squash-based sauce would have fewer calories than a luscious white sauce, but a half-cup serving of this vibrant orange concoction comes up with 170 calories to make your pasta a heavier prospect. Those calories come with 13 grams of fat, 360 milligrams of sodium, and an incredible 30 milligrams of cholesterol. There are also 7 grams of sugar in the recipe, but considering everything else already listed, it's just one more reason to squash this pasta topping possibility. Where does all this unfavorable nutritional calculus stem from? Isn't butternut squash supposed to be a healthy option overall? Well, yes, when it isn't combined with light cream, cultured butter, which includes even more cream, sunflower oil, and cheese. It turns out you can take what nature gave you and turn it into a pasta sauce that's better left on the shelf. What could a food company do to mushrooms to make them into an unhealthy pasta sauce? If the formulation in question results in Hunt's mushroom sauce, the answer is plenty, and most of it has to do with salt. Though it's found a few ingredients down on the list, it still accounts for a staggering 640 milligrams in a half-cup serving, countering that phenomenal number with a modest 40 calories.
Barilla, a recipe for wonderful.
When you find a sauce that combines cream and pesto like Barilla Creamy Genovese Basil Pesto does, you can pretty much assume the nutrition facts aren't going to be favorable. The food producer takes an interesting route with its creation, adding sunflower oil and cashews to achieve a richer base than the usual pesto provides. But that also brings in 600 calories per half-cup serving. And where calories occur, fat isn't too far behind. In this case, it's 52 grams, or around 2/3 of your daily allowance. If that weren't enough to deter you from buying, there are also 10 milligrams of cholesterol and 1,520 milligrams of sodium coming along for the ride. Knowing that a single serving of a jarred pasta sauce can contain more of these elements than you should consume in one sitting makes it clear that shopping for a nutrition-forward pasta sauce is something of a challenge. But options like Barilla Classic Genovese Basil Pesto make it much easier to bypass the unhealthy ones with figures so glaringly out of whack. Rosa sauce, like Bertolli d'Italia Creamy Rosa, combines white and red sauce for a recipe made to please lovers of both. This also means the good and bad nutritional qualities of both sauces share the jar. In the case of this tangy, creamy mix, a half-cup serving shows up on the plate with 100 calories, a bit higher than the average red sauce, though lower than some white sauces on the market. The 6 grams of fat aren't the worst either, considering the inclusion of Alfredo-like ingredients. But the 590 milligrams of sodium should be a deal breaker, putting around 25% of your recommended consumption into one overindulgent element of your meal. Having 2 different types of cheese plus eggs in the jar might explain the 15 milligrams of cholesterol in this sauce too. With so much working against the notion of eating for health dropped into a twofer sauce like this one, you might be happier choosing a marinara you can doctor with your own more nutritious white sauce ingredients instead.
Would you ever order a dish that has more than 3 times the amount of salt you're supposed to eat in an entire day? Buckle up, because you probably already did. Seemingly inspired by the sweet and sour shrimp main dish found at countless neighborhood Chinese-American restaurants for decades, crispy dragon shrimp is merely an appetizer at Red Lobster. But customers receive such a generous portion of the crispy dragon shrimp that nutritionally, the starter can go head-to-head with some of the chain's full seafood platters. Frying in oil adds both fat and calories, as does tossing and dressing the resulting crispy seafood in a thick, syrupy sauce. Also, the whole thing is covered in a very sweet and slightly hot sauce made mostly from sugar and chilies. All that coating, oil, and sauce make for an appetizer with more than a meal's worth of nutrition. The crispy dragon shrimp adds 1,010 calories, 72 grams of fat, 200 milligrams of cholesterol, and 2,010 milligrams of sodium to your Red Lobster experience, and to your waistline. 2 foods that are generally considered to be healthy choices: salad and grilled fish. One starts from a foundation of raw vegetables, and the other is unadorned seafood, a source of protein and omega-3 fatty acids. It's enough to make you cheer the waitstaff.
Oh, here comes
But the worst thing one can do with a salad is cover it with ingredients like Parmesan cheese, croutons, and a creamy dressing. That turns a pile of chopped romaine lettuce into a Caesar salad. Red Lobster diners can adapt the classic Caesar salad into a proper meal by adding protein. Surprisingly, choosing Atlantic salmon over chicken or shrimp adds the most calories and fat. Even though it looks like a plate of raw vegetables with fish on top, Red Lobster's classic Caesar salad with Atlantic salmon is one of the biggest calorie and fat sources on the menu. It contains 1,070 calories, 81 grams of fat, 180 milligrams of cholesterol, and 1,700 milligrams of sodium. Calorie-conscious diners ought to avoid the pasta section of chain restaurant menus. Noodles of all kinds are made almost entirely of caloric carbohydrates, and major restaurant companies, Red Lobster included, tend to serve massive portions of the stuff along with an abundance of butter or a creamy, cheesy white sauce. Nestled in Red Lobster's pasta offerings is the Bar Harbor Lobster Bake, a fat-filled pasta dish with a pile of seafood along for the ride. The entree begins with a big bowl of linguine slathered in a garlic and white wine sauce. Also in the mix are a couple of petite Maine lobster tails, as well as mussels, tiny bay scallops, and fresh tomatoes. Added up, this light-seeming pasta and seafood choice meets more than half of the average adult's daily caloric needs, according to the USDA, with 1,100 calories total. The 54 grams of fat just about hit the recommended one-day limit of 65 grams too. As far as cholesterol and sodium are concerned, the Bar Harbor Lobster Bake exceeds the daily recommendations, with 380 milligrams and 3,340 milligrams of each. So don't be surprised if your server does a double take when you order it.
How about you, pal? You know what? I'll have the lobster. Excuse me?
Fish and chips is a specific thing on the Red Lobster menu, but it's also the idea behind many of the chain's other entrees. The actual fish and chips dish is made with fried cod, while the wild-caught crunch-fried flounder is created with a different mild-flavored whitefish. It's battered with a mixture that results in a crispier texture, and it's served in a thin fillet. One thing is the same though, it's still not very healthy. Red Lobster's nutrition facts for the fish and chips include the fries and its sky-high calorie count. That's not the case for the wild-caught crunch-fried flounder. On its own with no sides included, the lunchtime portion of the crispy browned and oil-cooked flounder provides 1,140 calories, 71 grams of fat, and 140 milligrams of cholesterol. The 3,060 milligrams of sodium is also more than an adult should consume daily, and all of that is without factoring in the bun if you get it as a sandwich. Salmon New Orleans evokes the flavors of one of the country's best and most unique food cities, with a hefty portion of Atlantic salmon blackened in the spicy Louisiana style. Red Lobster doesn't stop there, throwing several shrimp on top of the salmon. The whole thing is left soaking in a hot, flavorful Cajun-spiced butter sauce along with a relish starring tomatoes and cilantro. It's that Cajun butter sauce that puts the Salmon New Orleans into the realm of the unhealthiest dinners to order at Red Lobster. Not even counting the two sides that come along with the meal, Salmon New Orleans contains 1,160 calories and more than a day's allotment of fat, 76 grams, while also exceeding the daily limit for cholesterol with 360 milligrams. If the words crispy or crunchy appear in the item's name or description, it's a safe bet that it's going to be something heavily battered and deep-fried. On the other hand, words like roasted or grilled imply that a dish is likely free of those calorie-rich coatings and oil baths. But Red Lobster's grilled lobster, shrimp, and salmon signature feast is a major exception. In this instance, grilled is misleading. While the seafood is cooked simply over high heat and offers a robust 76 grams of protein, it's also responsible for the same amount of fat, as well as 1,180 calories and 2,830 milligrams of sodium. The calorie culprit in this dish? The toppings. A Maine lobster tail, a skewer of jumbo shrimp, and a large hunk of salmon all arrive at the table swimming in a thick brown butter sauce. Over the decades, Red Lobster has made big strides in creating dishes that could be perceived as healthier than the usual restaurant fare. One of the most seemingly healthy items on its menu in the lunch-leaning bowls and sandwiches section is the sesame soy salmon bowl. Compared to other items on that same laminated page, the fish doesn't appear to be fried or breaded, and it's served with orzo rice and 2 vegetables, rather than potatoes or coleslaw. But watch out. The central protein is Atlantic salmon, which, due to its intentionally bulky diet in a farmed setting, results in more calories and about twice as much fat as a similar serving of its wild-caught counterpart. And the dish involves so many sauces that any healthy ingredients are overwhelmed by the calorically dense additions. That salmon gets drenched in a sweet soy and ginger glaze, while added fat makes the Brussels sprouts crispy. A vinaigrette dressing and crispy fried onions turn that salad into a fat bomb. All Altogether, the sesame soy salmon bowl contains 1,220 calories, 62 grams of fat, and 2,770 milligrams of sodium. Nestled in the classics section of the Red Lobster menu is arguably the most familiar and iconic seafood combo of all time, fish and chips. Red Lobster presents a faithful take on the British takeout staple, offering a generous slab of wild cod fried in a light batter to provide a crispy finish, alongside a moderate portion of fries, a bowl of coleslaw, and tartar sauce for dipping. Consumed as written and recommended, with coleslaw and fries on the side, Red Lobster's fish and chips platter is as salty and fatty as it is unpretentious. Under the USDA's daily diet recommendations for adults, the meal delivers over a half of a day's calories and an entire day's fat, with 1,230 and 65 grams respectively. The dish also provides just under half of the cholesterol limit at 130 milligrams, while its 2,910 milligrams of sodium is more than you should have in an entire day. In theory, appetizers are supposed to prepare a diner for the meal at hand, meals like Crab Fest, without filling you up too much. Sharing an appetizer with one's dining companions is a great way to sample the menu and keep the mood festive without getting too loaded down to enjoy the rest of the meal. But you can certainly enjoy an appetizer alone, and Red Lobster offers many largely portioned options on its starters menu, such as the Krabby Cheese Fries. It's a straightforward dish that consists of just a few simple ingredients: a big plate of French fries studded with lump crab meat and topped with both a cheese sauce and a garlic cream concoction. While technically an appetizer, the Krabby Cheese Fries registers figures in calories, fat, cholesterol, and sodium similar to that of many Red Lobster meals. Along with 1,450 calories, it's got 76 grams of fat, 140 milligrams of cholesterol, and 3,760 milligrams of sodium. There's nothing inherently unhealthy about lobster, but the way it's prepared can make it a food bomb. Take the dueling Southern tails. The cooks at Red Lobster use lobster tails as a foundation for two towering monuments to calories. Half of the plate arrives occupied by a main lobster tail, served on top of a bed of creamy grits. Then all that gets covered with shrimp, treated with a sugary glaze. The other part of the duel is a second lobster tail, dropped atop a big portion of gooey macaroni and cheese. A thick, sweet sauce made from bourbon and bacon serves as a final touch. The total calorie count for this carbs and seafood mashup is 1,490. The dueling Southern tails also provides far more than enough fat and sodium for the average adult's entire day, with 94 grams and 4,510 milligrams respectively. So keep the antacid handy.
I thought lobster upset your stomach.
I dipped it in Pesto Bismol.
Oh, you like dipping, eh?
Come here.
One of their most popular Lobster Fest offerings is the Lobster Lover's Dream, which pairs a couple of sides of the diner's choosing with 3 portions of lobster. The meal comes complete with both Caribbean rock lobster and Maine lobster tails. Rounding out the hearty feast is a bowl of linguine tossed in a thick cream sauce with shrimp and even more lobster. All of the butter used in the preparation of the lobster tails, plus the cream and carbohydrates in the pasta dish, ramp up the calorie count. As a result, the Lobster Lover's Dream contains 1,570 calories and 110 grams of fat, almost double the USDA recommended daily allowance for fat. The 590 milligrams of cholesterol is 2/3 of what an adult can handle in a day, while the 4,460 milligrams of sodium contributes right under 2 days worth of salt. One of the biggest meals on the Red Lobster menu is the Admiral's Feast. Diners who select this signature feast receive full or nearly full-size portions of 4 items: Walt's favorite shrimp, thin and crispy wild flounder, bite-sized bay scallops, and clam strips. All of that seafood is breaded and deep-fried, and the meal comes with various sugary sauces and 2 side dishes. The dips and accompaniments aren't included in the nutrition facts for the Admiral's Feast, meaning the hefty numbers don't fully reflect what the Red Lobster customer consumes. Just the seafood in this single meal provides the average diner with close to a full day's dietary needs or more. With 1,640 calories, 96 grams of fat, and 4,750 milligrams of sodium, twice the advised daily limit of salt, it's enough to make you think twice.
I'll be at the Red Lobster in case you change your mind, shooter.
Among the newest additions to Red Lobster's Lobster Fest special menu is a massive platter the seafood chain calls the Crispy Lobster and Shrimp Stack. It starts with buttery lobster tail meat that's fried and crispy, surrounded by a sizable portion of similarly breaded and fried shrimp. Red Lobster serves the stack with several hush puppies, as well as french fries, mayonnaise-laden coleslaw, honey jalapeno butter, and malt vinegar aioli for dipping. This opulent collection is so densely packed with calories that it could provide the average adult with all of their basic nutritional needs for more than a day, and enough fat for more than 2 days. It's got a truly shocking 2,520 calories, as well as 138 grams of total fat. The Crispy Lobster and Shrimp Stack is also an extremely salty choice. With 7,140 milligrams of sodium, it has around 3 times what an adult needs in a day.
You expect fried chicken to be unhealthy, but you might be thinking a salad is a safe bet. That's not the case at some of these fast food chicken chains. It's okay to eat fast food chicken occasionally, but if you're trying to be more health conscious, it's best to treat these outings like special occasions rather than regular occurrences. That includes trips to America's beloved fast food chicken chain Popeyes. New Orleans-style chicken is a national favorite, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the nutrition facts can get concerning. If you order the 4-piece signature chicken combo classic with a biscuit, fries, and a soda, you won't only be ingesting 1,777 calories, but you'll also have to reserve 91 grams of fat and 89 grams of carbs for the food alone. And those watching their blood pressure may want to reconsider chowing down on 3,970 milligrams of sodium. These numbers far exceed what is medically recommended for a daily intake. The chain's vegetarian items may be a better bet for diners looking to lower their overall calorie count at Popeyes. Side dishes like coleslaw, mashed potatoes, and rice make for a decent meal and seem preferable to a huge portion of salt-packed chicken. Sodium counts are notoriously high in the fast food industry, but if you want to steer clear of the blatantly unhealthy stuff, avoid ordering this chicken combo. KFC has toyed with boxed meals over its long history as a fast food chicken heavyweight, and the big box is one such manifestation. With it, you don't have to deliberate between a spicy chicken sandwich or nuggets and fries. You can have it all in one big box. This is great for ravenous patrons who are dead set on really treating themselves to KFC, but the spicy chicken sandwich and nuggets big box meal takes the top spot as the unhealthiest thing you can order off the menu. This combo box is customizable, but the range is still between 940 and 1,560 calories. In addition to the 620-calorie spicy chicken sandwich, you'll also get 5 chicken nuggets, 1 side, and a fountain drink. If you go the classic route and choose a side of secret recipe fries, that will add 320 calories to the meal. Soda brings in another 250 or more calories, depending on your choice. But even the modest option of lemonade packs 140 calories. KFC's spicy chicken sandwich also carries 33 grams of fat, 85 milligrams of cholesterol, and 2,140 milligrams of sodium. If fast food chicken is what you desire, Raising Cane's has it. The menu here is refreshingly simplified: chicken fingers, crinkle-cut fries, coleslaw, Texas toast, and a chicken sandwich. Special sauce, lemonade, sweet tea, and fountain drinks punctuate the menu, but we admire that Raising Cane's stays true to what it does best. Having such a streamlined menu means most of what you can order is slight variations of the same things. The 3-finger combo, box combo, and Caniac combo are identical ingredient-wise, so it's probably no surprise that the Caniac combo is the most unhealthy thing you can order at Raising Cane's. It's simply the largest portion in every way. You'll get 6 chicken fingers, a helping of crinkle-cut fries, Texas toast, coleslaw, 2 sauces, and a large fountain drink, all of which total upwards of 2,040 calories. If you eat the entire portion of the Caniac combo, you consume around a full day's worth of calories in one crispy fried basket of food. Raising Cane's consistency in serving unprocessed chicken across approximately 570 locations, including several in military-based food courts, is certainly commendable. The company's claim to fame is its chicken fingers, and if you love them, you should eat them. Just don't order the biggest portion if you're trying to be mindful of what you eat.
I'm chicken rich!
Restaurant salads are known to be deceptively unhealthy, but surprisingly, a Cobb salad is the unhealthiest thing you can order from Chick-fil-A. The nutrition facts of this Cobb salad with breaded chicken are gasp-inducing. While 850 calories for a salad is troubling, the 61 grams of fat and 2,220 milligrams of sodium are almost unbelievable. If you're dead set on ordering this, opt for grilled chicken, less of the standard ingredients, and ask for dressing on the side. But to put it in perspective, the hash brown scramble burrito Alfredo has 0.5 grams of trans fat, 700 calories, and 1,770 milligrams of sodium. But even with trans fat among the ingredients, this unhealthy breakfast item still seems slightly more appealing than the gut punch that is Chick-fil-A's Cobb salad. A great deal of the fat is sourced by the buttermilk ranch dressing, which has around 30 grams of fat per serving, depending on the variation you order. There's also the bacon to consider. From a calorie standpoint, the Cobb salad is in a discouraging category of its own, but some Chick-fil-A locations sell combo meals with caloric totals that are in the thousands. An example of such a combo meal would be the Spicy Deluxe, which could top out at 1,100 calories depending on what you order. A Chick-fil-A combo meal typically includes waffle-cut french fries and a fountain drink. As a general rule, avoid unwittingly ordering the most unhealthy thing at a fast food chicken chain by foregoing the combo meal. One place where this rings true is Church's Texas Chicken. George Church started the eatery in San Antonio, Texas in 1952. From there, the company grew into a huge fast food chain with restaurants in almost all 50 states and nearly 24 countries.
That's because Church's Chicken is big, bigger than Kentucky Fried.
There's no shame in wanting to sink your teeth into a crispy piece of Church's Texas Chicken. But if you're trying to choose one of the more nutritious menu items, skip the 3-piece mixed combo. Church's official website shows that the 3-piece mixed combo's total calorie count is between 870 to 1,990, which is quite a range. The company is a little sneaky with how it lists nutritional information. Instead of providing calories, fat, and other details for each meal, Church's discloses nutrition facts for everything individually. If you order an original fried chicken wing, thigh, and leg, the calories for just the poultry total 800. The 3-piece mixed combo also comes with a 230-calorie honey butter biscuit, a drink, and a side of your choice. Depending on what you choose, the less than great ingredients can add up quickly. If you're trying to be mindful of fat and calories, but still want to enjoy a meal from Church's Texas Chicken, try gravitating toward a smaller portion, like the 2-piece mixed combo. Slim Chickens is expanding so quickly that there's probably a location opening up right as you watch this. The fast casual chicken chain originated in Arkansas in 2002 as an entrepreneurial venture for high school pals Greg Smart and Tom Gordon. Like Church's Texas Chicken, Slim Chickens lists its nutrition facts by the item rather than by the meal. But just looking at what's inside the Chicken Club sandwich is enough to know that the meal will be very unhealthy. The Chicken Club sandwich packs 747 calories, 409 of which are calories from fat, 42 grams of fat, 9 of which are saturated fat, and 1,044 milligrams of sodium. A fried chicken sandwich practically begs for a side of fries, but consuming regular-sized fries as part of the Chicken Club sandwich meal will add 470 calories, 22 grams of fat, and 1,180 milligrams of sodium. When eating a fast food chicken meal, you can shave off a few hundred calories by opting for a diet soda rather than a full sugar one, or better yet, drinking water. Combo meals at fast food chicken chains have consistently ranked as the unhealthiest things on the menu, and at Zaxby's, the situation is no different. This chicken joint debuted in 1990 in Statesboro, Georgia, with American-style portions that are the antithesis of healthy. The Wings and Things meal is a huge portion of salty, fatty, saucy food items. Although it might taste good, eating an entire Wings and Things plate could potentially expend your recommended daily calories in just one meal. With 5 chicken wings, 3 chicken fingers, crinkle fries, Texas toast, and a small drink, you probably won't have room for any more food anyway. Zaxby's website reveals that this meal totals anywhere from 1,480 to 2,050 calories and around 96 grams of fat, which is a bit much for anyone looking to consume 3 meals per day. Since 1977, Bojangles' Cajun Fried Chicken has been a claim to fame that helped the business expand into over 800 locations.
Because when it comes to down-home cooking, it's not our first rodeo.
The 3-piece leg and 2 thighs dinner meal is the unhealthiest thing you can order from this classic chain. Like other franchises that primarily focus on chicken, this meal is unhealthy because of the large portions and large doses of sodium and calories. Bojangles' website puts the 3-piece leg and 2 thighs dinner meal at 1,020 to 1,690 calories. Not exactly a light lunch. The fried chicken breast is 260 calories per order, and the wing is 90 calories per piece. And let's not forget that a biscuit, drink, and 2 sides are included. Bojangles has a popular scratch-made biscuit with 310 calories and 780 milligrams of sodium. You may want to mix and match menu items rather than order this large meal to keep the portion more manageable. No fast food chicken chain is truly complete without French fries. Wingstop, a Texas-based chain that has amassed a staggering number of locations since opening in 1994, takes fries pretty seriously. Seasoned fries, buffalo ranch fries, and cheese fries are some savory sides sold at Wingstop, but the Louisiana Voodoo fries are the most decadent. And by decadent, we mean unhealthy. A large order of these bad boys is a staggering 1,180 calories. There are also 133 grams of carbs, 1,870 milligrams of sodium, and 64 grams of fat. Louisiana Voodoo fries are listed on the menu as a side, but ordering a large is a hefty portion, weighing in at 483 grams. By comparison, a large order of French fries at McDonald's weighs 154 grams, with 497 calories, 66 grams of carbs, 291 milligrams of sodium, and 24 grams of fat. So what makes Wingstop's Louisiana Voodoo fries so unhealthy? The Cajun seasoned fries, which are pretty salty to begin with, are drenched in cheese sauce and ranch dressing. Between the big portion and 2 creamy sauces, the Louisiana Voodoo fries eat more like a meal than a side dish. One chicken chain that makes a concerted effort to shake off the notoriously unhealthy fast food image is El Pollo Loco. The Mexican-style eatery, which was established in 1975 and is known for its fire-grilled chicken, tries to be mindful of calories. And while it does a better job than many of its competitors, the Chipotle chicken avocado burrito is hardly diet food. It contains grilled chicken rather than fried, but it still has 940 calories, 1 gram of trans fat, 84 grams of carbs, and a whopping 2,240 milligrams of sodium. As delicious as burritos are, it's hard to justify one that comes with nutrition stats like these. The Grande Avocado Chicken Bowl may appear like a lower carb alternative to the Chipotle chicken avocado burrito. With 90 grams of carbohydrates per serving, however, it turns out that the opposite is true, though the calorie count of the bowl is a little more palatable at 790 calories. If you have your heart set on eating the Chipotle chicken avocado burrito from El Pollo Loco and want to keep your order under 1,000 calories, you'll need to forego extras like side sauces, chips and guacamole, or churros for dessert. Jollibee might be a lesser-known name in fast food chicken, but it started in Quezon City, Philippines back in 1978. Now, there are roughly 100 Jollibees in Canada and the United States, and about 1,300 throughout the world. The Filipino chain introduced the idea of pairing fried chicken with spaghetti to the American public, but anyone watching their intake should give this quirky combo a hard pass.
Could I have a Jolly spaghetti with the hot dogs on it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Also, Chicken Joy.
What could be so bad about a fried chicken drumstick and thigh paired with some spaghetti, sauce, and cheese? Well, to start, this combo tops out at the 1,400 calorie mark. Also, the spaghetti sauce at Jollibee isn't your average marinara. According to the chain's website, Jolly spaghetti sauce includes chunky slices of savory ham, ground meat, and hot dog. Stirring a plethora of meat into sauce may be jolly tasting, but it brings the reasonably sized portion of spaghetti up to 610 calories. On its own, Jolly Spaghetti has 1,340 milligrams of sodium and 18 grams of sugar. But as part of the 2-piece Chicken Joy meal, the sodium spikes to 2,390 milligrams. And there's also a side of gravy in this meal. A small serving of Jollibee gravy has 25 calories, which isn't bad, seeing as most people don't view gravy as healthy food. But it adds 380 milligrams of sodium to an already salt-laden dish.
Dip it, drizzle it, slather it. Sometimes steak just isn't complete without a little or a whole lot of sauce. But could your favorite store-bought brand be sneaking in something unhealthy? While certain other A1 products aren't particularly healthy either, their thick and hearty steak sauce might be the one you'll most want to steer clear of if you're working on your nutrition.
Your tie is steak sauce. It means A1. A1, get it? Try to keep up.
In terms of flavor, it's fairly similar to the brand's original steak sauce, but there are a few key differences when you look at the lists of ingredients. First and foremost, where A1 original steak sauce includes just corn syrup as an added sweetener, A1 Thick and Hearty steak sauce lists high fructose corn syrup as an ingredient. According to Cleveland Clinic, consuming too much high fructose corn syrup can result in an array of health problems, including leaky gut, insulin resistance, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and type 2 diabetes. For this reason, the clinic advises staying away from high fructose corn syrup altogether. In addition to the high fructose corn syrup, A1 Thick and Hearty steak sauce also contains 300 milligrams of sodium and 5 grams of sugar per serving. While these aren't the highest concentrations of either of those ingredients on this list, it's certainly worth thinking about before pouring this sauce all over your steak.
Peter Luger's Steakhouse in New York City is an iconic steakhouse that's withstood the test of time, becoming one of the city's oldest dining establishments specializing in all things steak. Given its popularity and reputation, it makes sense that this restaurant would put its name on a variety of products, including a steak sauce. The company's website describes the sauce's flavor as similar to that of both a cocktail sauce and a traditional steak sauce, with slightly spicy notes thanks to the horseradish it's made with. Other ingredients added to the sauce's tomato and vinegar base include molasses, onions, garlic, and anchovies. In addition to adding the sauce to steaks, you can easily pair it with vegetables, burgers, chicken, and more. However, this is yet another steak sauce that includes high fructose corn syrup. While the sauce has a relatively low 125 milligrams of sodium per serving, each has 7 grams of sugar as well. The American Heart Association reports that much sugar is about 20 to 30% of your recommended daily intake, which is why you may not want to be too generous with it the next time you dine with Peter Luger's old-fashioned sauce. Don't let the fun name distract you from this sauce brand's heavy use of sodium. St. Elmo's Izzy's sauce, like Peter Luger Steakhouse Old Fashioned sauce, is a sauce that's spun off from an overarching restaurant brand. Admittedly, the Indianapolis-based St. Elmo's Steakhouse isn't quite as famous as Peter Luger's, but you can still buy St. Elmo's products at grocery stores nationwide. Like many steak sauces, Izzy's sauce contains vinegar and tomatoes, but also a few more unique ingredients, including soy sauce, brandy, and butter. For this reason, it has the added issue of being one of the few steak sauces that anyone with a dairy or soy allergy will want to stay away from. Similar to the steak sauce options from A1, each serving of Izzy's sauce includes 300 milligrams of sodium, or 13% of your daily recommended value, in addition to 3 grams of sugar. While you might not think of Hawaii as the home of classic steakhouses with T-bones, baked potatoes, and creamed spinach, you can still find some Hawaiian-inspired steak sauces in the condiment aisle at the grocery store. Aloha Katsu Hawaiian steak sauce even features many of the same ingredients that you'll find in a standard steak sauce, like a tomato paste and vinegar base, along with spices. However, this steak sauce's ingredients label sticks out for a few reasons. For one, it includes a few unexpected ingredients that you might not find in other sauces, such as Worcestershire sauce.
What did you say?
Yo, Worcestershire sauce.
That's not the way you say it.
Additionally, the first ingredient isn't tomato or vinegar, but sugar. This steak sauce is loaded with sugar at 9 grams per serving. However, that does not mean this sauce doesn't have its fair share of savoriness. It also packs in 490 milligrams of sodium, for 21% of your daily recommended intake in just a 2-tablespoon serving. It's worth noting that while this katsu sauce is branded as suitable for serving with steak, it's also great for its namesake, katsu. You'll find traditional Japanese katsu sauce in your international foods aisle. It typically includes other additional ingredients like apples, carrots, and soy sauce, and it's intended to be eaten with tonkatsu or breaded pork. If you want to order a steak in the mail, Omaha Steaks has you covered. The brand has long-shipped beef products all over the country to a wide array of customers. However, Omaha Steaks does not just sell steaks. The brand also offers a wealth of other products, including chicken, pork, seafood, and condiments, such as steak sauce. With molasses as its first ingredient, Omaha Steaks' traditional steak sauce is on the sweeter side. However, it also brings in other ingredients that you might not see in other steak sauces, such as applesauce and pineapple juice concentrate. Thanks to the way they break down proteins, the enzymes in pineapples specifically makes this sauce suitable to use as a marinade and tenderizer, in addition to being served alongside cooked steak. Despite its added versatility, this steak sauce packs in 11 grams of sugar per serving, making it the sweetest on our list. Most store-bought steak sauces are relatively low in fat and calories because they're made with vinegar and tomato bases. Likewise, what makes most steak sauces unhealthy is high concentrations of sodium and sugar. However, that's not the case with Kinder's Prime Steak Dipping Sauce with black truffle and butter. As the decadent name would suggest, this sauce packs in the calories and fat. Compared to most bottled steak sauces, this sauce is a bit of an outlier. It comes in a squeeze tube, and rather than brown, it's creamy white and flecked with spices. Its first ingredient is soybean oil, and with egg yolks quickly following, this sauce shares more similarity to mayonnaise than many of its competitors. Other ingredients include vinegar, garlic puree, sugar, and spices. All this adds up to 180 calories per 2 tablespoon serving, along with 19 grams of fat. What's more, there are still 200 milligrams of sodium per serving on top of all these additional ingredients. Still, its flavor may make it worth it. Reviews for the item on the Walmart website say the sauce is rich and flavorful, and that a little goes a long way. Primal Kitchen presents itself as an overwhelmingly healthful brand. The brand's website touts that it uses only real, high-quality ingredients and never uses any dairy or artificial sweeteners. Many of the brand's products are labeled as organic, and everywhere you look, wellness is front and center across their branding. With so much health-conscious rhetoric, you may be wondering how Primal Kitchen steak sauce made our list of the unhealthiest steak sauces that you can buy in the grocery store. The answer is simple: sodium. It is true that Primal Kitchen steak sauce contains no artificial sweeteners and barely any sugar, and its ingredients list is filled with organic ingredients like tomato puree, balsamic vinegar, and spices. However, if you take a look at the nutrition facts, you'll see that this sauce comes with 300 milligrams of sodium per serving, or 13% of your daily recommended intake. While otherwise, this steak sauce could be considered healthful, that sodium is something to watch for if you're trying to cut down on your intake of that particular chemical element. The American Heart Association says 90% of Americans eat too much sodium daily, and that cutting your sodium intake by 1,000 milligrams per day can result in marked health improvements.
Salt, sugar, and everything spice. These unhealthy chicken dishes might even have you rethinking that salad. The Cheesecake Factory is famous for its extensive menu and decadent dishes, drinks, and sweets. Truthfully, a good number of its meals could have made this list, but one is particularly shocking. Breaded, drizzled with spicy miso sauce, and laid over rice and veggies, the chicken katsu doesn't seem all that bad. After all, it's not drenched in heavy cream like some of the chain's iconic pasta dishes. However, the Hawaii-exclusive dish contains 2,520 calories. Although this number can change depending on age, gender, and lifestyle for many people, the chicken katsu has more than their daily recommended caloric intake in just one meal. The dish contains an astounding 4,610 milligrams of sodium. The federal recommendation for sodium stands at less than 2,300 milligrams per day. You're better off opting for a grilled chicken entree instead, or pretty much anything else for that matter. P.F. Chang's is known for Americanized Chinese classics and Asian fusion creations. While its large menu has several options that cater to dietary restrictions and health-conscious customers, it still has its fair share of not-so-healthy dishes. The wok-fired, crispy honey chicken bowl is the worst of the worst when it comes to poultry meals. Served on a choice of white, brown, or fried rice, the chicken is battered and coated in a sweet honey-based sauce. While you can find meals with a greater calorie content on the menu, the crispy honey chicken bowl has some of the highest amounts of sugar in any one dish, coming in at 38 grams. The American Heart Association recommends limiting daily added sugar intake to 36 grams for men and 25 grams for women. Eating the crispy honey chicken bowl in one sitting certainly leaves no room for dessert. P.F. Chang's bowls are part of the lunch menu, so expect a midday sugar rush and crash if you order this dish. Whether you love it or hate it, KFC has long had a hold over the chicken business. If the Kentucky-based chain conjures up images of seemingly bottomless tubs of fried chicken and wacky creations such as the pizza-inspired Chizza, you may not know that KFC has also ventured into bowls. The famous bowl has all your finger-licking favorites in one place: mashed potatoes and chicken nuggets, topped with gravy, sweet corn, and cheese. What you don't see is that the bowl comes with a staggering 2,160 grams of sodium, almost reaching the recommended daily limit. It also has 67 grams of carbs and 23 grams of total fat. If you're looking for a healthier meal at the chain, you could check out one of the grilled chicken options. They exist. If you're in the mood for chicken, IHOP probably isn't the first restaurant that comes to mind. After all, the International House of Pancakes is famous for its sugary stacks. Nonetheless, the breakfast spot also carries a wide selection of burgers, soups, salads, and entrees. Among these options is the Nashville Hot Chicken Melt. The meal combines pieces of buttermilk fried chicken, melted cheese, mayo, pickles, and a fiery kick of hot sauce nestled between two slices of grilled bread. It's served with ranch and a side of fries, onion rings, mac and cheese, pancakes, salad, or fruit. Sounds delicious, right? Just prepare yourself. The Nashville Hot Chicken Melt packs a hefty 2,100 calories, and that's without the sides. It also has 165 grams of total fat, 98 grams of carbs, 14 grams of sugar, and 4,030 milligrams of sodium. Depending on the side you choose, the meal can reach up to 2,670 calories, covering your daily intake in one plate.
We ride after IHOP.
Applebee's has concocted a salad so decadent that it rings in at 2,040 calories. That's right, the quesadilla chicken salad has more calories than a whole platter of chicken tenders or any of the restaurant's pasta dishes. While this is certainly one deceptively unhealthy salad, it makes more sense when you account for the ingredients. Chipotle lime chicken, salsa, cheese, greens, Mexa ranch dressing, tortilla strips, and of course, cheese quesadillas make up the contents. The meal contains 137 grams of total fat, 4,540 milligrams of sodium, and 91 grams of carbs. Thankfully, customizations are easy. Removing the extra cheese and tortilla strips or holding off on the dressing can help improve the dish's stats. Alternatively, consider the grilled chicken tender salad or the chicken Caesar salad. Both have less than half the calories and sodium. California Pizza Kitchen has given the world many unique ingredient and flavor combinations over the years, exploring international cuisines slice by slice. One striking innovation is CPK's California Club Pizza. Keeping the traditional red sauce and mozzarella, this pizza features both grilled chicken and bacon as sources of protein. After everything is baked, a mix of lettuce, basil, sliced tomato, avocado, and mayo completes the look. If you stick with the classic hand-tossed crust, each slice of this flavorful creation packs 240 calories. What's the big deal? The pizza has 6 slices total, meaning the entire meal comes to 1,440 calories. Individual appetites vary, but many people choose to enjoy all 6 slices in one sitting. The California Club contains more calories than any other pizza on the menu. Anyone wanting to make the meal a bit healthier can opt for the thin crust, which has slightly fewer calories. The gluten-free cauliflower crust offers even lower calorie, sodium, and carb values.
Marie Callender's, where the chocolate's sinful, the cream pie's perfect, the cherries irresistible.
Marie Callender's has long been famous for its sweet pies and selection of frozen dinners available at grocery stores nationwide. Actual sit-down restaurants are no longer as ubiquitous as they once were, but the remaining locations still serve up the chain's familiar American fare. Not every dish is created equally, and one plate of pasta manages to include more sodium than any other chicken entree on the menu. The chicken and broccoli fettuccine almost reaches the maximum recommended daily value. As you might expect, fettuccine pasta, broccoli, and grilled chicken make up the heart of the dish. The Alfredo sauce that brings everything together is a blend of 3 different cheeses. The pasta comes with a side of cornbread, adding 340 calories and 540 milligrams of sodium. The shrimp and chicken carbonara may be a better pasta option if you're looking to lower your sodium intake, though it contains slightly more calories.